We're about to witness the greatest NBA offseason in NBA history. With the amount of trades, signings, and uncertainties that flow around the NBA, this offseason is going to be one for the books. To start this offseason, we got the draft, and it's going to be a crazy night. The Mavericks won the lottery both literally and figuratively, and got the chance to draft Cooper Flag, which the Mavs already said they're going to do. We understand the point of the lottery, where any team that doesn't make the playoffs has a chance to get the #1 pick, but this is beyond rigged. You mean to tell me that the NBA didn't call the Mavs and say, hey, trade Luka to the Lakers and we'll give you the #1 pick? Why do you think Nico Harrison still has a job at this point? Most teams would fire their GM right away if they made this move, but not the Mavs. The same thing happened in 2019, when the Pelicans traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers and lucked into the #1 pick to get the all-world prospect Zion Williamson. The NBA didn't try to hide this at all, and I don't blame them. Meanwhile, the Spurs got the #2 pick and now have the perfect pieces to trade for an all-generational talent in Giannis Antetokounmpo. This will happen. It's just a matter of when. The Spurs are the best with international talent. They got Wemby into his 3rd year, traded for a great guard in De'Aaron Fox, and have a new coach that I like a lot in Mitch Johnson. And even though Greg Popovich is not going to be on the sideline anymore, El Jefe is still going to have a great influence on this team, which I can't wait for. A trade for Giannis would either include the #2 pick or Stephon Castle, but I don't think it would need both. Castle, Vassell, Harrison Barnes, and the #14 pick for Giannis would work for both sides, with the Bucks getting a surplus amount of young talent and the Spurs getting their next all-time great. David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and now Giannis Antetokounmpo. I can't wait. And with the 76ers getting the #3 pick, they could trade Joel Embiid and do a complete rebuild, or trade the pick and go all in. At #3, you got a great looking prospect in Ace Bailey that can help turn this team around. With no moves made this offseason, you're looking at a lineup of McCain, Maxey, Bailey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. But there are some enticing things to do that may or may not help this team in the long run. The Jazz got unlucky and fell to #5 in the draft, after having the best odds for the #1 pick. You can move down from 3 to 5 and get an extra 1st round pick, or get a guy like Walker Kessler or Kyle Filipowski, someone who can back up Embiid when he goes down for an extended period. Speaking of Embiid, the rumors of him getting traded are looking less like rumors and looking more like certains. You can look at the Luka trade and see how the Mavericks are building a team for now and the future. Embiid can't stay healthy enough to lead the Sixers to any team success. But with the current state of the NBA and his contract, I could barely find a team that would be willing to make a trade for him. The Knicks might make the finals with Cat. The Lakers don't have the pieces or cap space, and it wouldn't make sense for the Bucks to go from Giannis to Embiid. At the end of the day, I found 2 teams that might make a trade for Embiid. First, we got the Pacers, who are close to making the NBA Finals in back-to-back years and feel like they're one piece away from making that next jump. They give up Nebhard, Mathurin, their 1st round pick this year, and work a sign and trade with Miles Turner for 4 years, $120 million for Embiid. The 76ers run a lineup with McCain, Maxey, Bailey, George, and Turner with a stacked bench, and the Pacers create a big 3 with Halliburton, Siakam, and Embiid to push them to the next step. The last team I found that could make a trade with the 76ers just so happened to be a #1 seed this year. The Cavs had probably one of the most disappointing seasons in NBA history, winning 64 games in the regular season and being projected to at least make the conference finals. Injuries and bad performances from key role players kept that from happening, so they have to go back to the drawing board. You see that Donovan Mitchell is great in the regular season, leading 2 different teams to #1 seeds that were supposed to be average at best. But his game doesn't translate in the playoffs, and that's where a guy like Embiid comes in. The Cavs trade Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter, and Max Strus for Embiid, and the 76ers 2nd rounder this year. The Cavs go all in by keeping their core of Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley, and hope to win a title next season. This way, Embiid doesn't need to do much in the regular season and can focus on his health leading up to the playoffs. The 76ers get 3 solid pieces to pair with Maxey and Paul George, and makes this entire team dangerous to face from 1 through 10. A win for both sides in my opinion. But if the Cavs don't make a blockbuster trade like this, then they'll blow it up. Jared Allen showed flaws in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell results to chucking up 30 shots a game, even though that's not how the Cavs play. And Evan Mobley needs to get better offensively. Plus, their contracts with this current team put them over the second apron, making their ability to get key players almost impossible. This team has no choice but to go big or go home. Now we get away from the draft and go to what's really going to shock the NBA world once it happens. The Bucks are going into a complete rebuild and need to get the most out of Giannis. The requirement that the Bucks need to hold for themselves is they need to get at least 2 young players that are either stars or have the potential to be stars, and get multiple first-round picks. The front runners are obviously the Spurs, who can trade multiple young players and their newly acquired number 2 pick. But then there are other teams that want to make their way into the Giannis sweepstakes. The Thunder can do it, with a trade that includes Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, and the many first-round picks that they've stolen from other teams over the years. But with how well their team is already, it's unlikely the Thunder will pull the trigger on that deal. And then we have the Rockets, but they'd have to give up Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith Jr., Reed Shepherd, and Dylan Brooks just to get the contracts to work. All we know is that Giannis will get dealt this offseason, and I can't wait for it. Not only do we have a crazy draft and upcoming trades, we also need to figure out what's going to happen with certain teams. More specifically, the teams that failed to meet their expectations. The Celtics were favorites to go back-to-back in the beginning of the season, and it looked to be the case at the end of the regular season as well. Finishing with over 60 wins for the second straight year, almost every analyst, including myself, thought the Celtics were coming out of the East. The Knicks had other things to say about it, and now the Celtics have important decisions to make. You have 5 players making at least $28 million a year, including 2 guys who make at least $50 million each. They are well over the second apron and recently got new ownership, which I assume the new owner doesn't want to pay that insane tax bill in his first year. And to top it off, Jason Tatum is likely out for all of next season, putting their championship hopes in limbo. Key players are going to be dealt. It's just a matter of who and where to. Do they trade the unanimously agreed upon candidate in Jaylen Brown, considering him and Tatum play the same position and makes a crazy $53.1 million next season? Or do they trade Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis, considering they are severely overpaid and are on the later years of their career? Or do they just trade everybody except Tatum, completely rebuild for the next season that Tatum is healthy, and build for the current and the future? That last option is a stretch, but who knows what the Celtics are going to do this offseason. The only thing we do know is they won't do nothing. Another thing that needs to be considered this offseason is so many superstars are going to be on the trade market. We're going to see a snowball effect of the Luka to the Lakers trade. We already know Giannis is going to be on the move, but then we have Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Paul George, Jaylen Brown, and Trae Young are all very likely to get moved as well. And as crazy as I've said this offseason will be, the free agency portion will probably be the worst in NBA history. The best free agent that doesn't have a player or team option is probably Miles Turner. And that's not someone I'm looking at with crazy intentions. Jonathan Kuminga will probably be the hottest guy on the market, but the Warriors will just match whatever offer he gets. But saying this, teams will use this offseason to prepare for the 2026 free agency class. And that class is stacked. Let me just read off the players that are unrestricted free agents in 2026. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, De'Aaron Fox, Kristaps Porzingis, Julius Randle, Jaren Jackson Jr., Mikal Bridges, and Naz Reid. Then we got guys that have player options, like Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green. And then there's even more solid role players that teams are going to look at, like CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Isaiah Hartenstein, John Collins, Aaron Gordon, and so much more. You will see teams not do anything this offseason. And if that's the case, then they're getting ready for 2026. We still got the playoffs going on, but this offseason is going to be crazy to see. And I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Talk to me down in the comments about what you guys think will happen. All that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.